Hello, this is Mutation 92 attempting my first video. We'll see how it goes. I'll just do a couple of collection videos, maybe talk about some of the stuff I've done to my figures. See where it goes from there. Maybe I'll do more videos in the future. Depends on how my voice comes across and other such things. Do a little bit of a sweep here across my X-Men. Just to start out. All right, and then there's Magneto. Yeah, I was trying not to get, anybody extra in there, but zoom back over here. So, this is attempting to be an animated collection. 97, 92, stuff like that. I've got a couple characters in here just from the 90s comics, which is just inevitable because when you start X-Men, they just kind of bleed out everywhere. So, yeah, I have the 97 Cyclops with a custom head. Even that custom head, it was too wide when I got it. I had to thin down the jawline. Got Jean on that. What was that? A songbird effect? So I drilled a hole in the back of her head. I redid her bangs so that they were... focus on that. So that they were, in there. They're the wrong color. I'll probably go back and redo that. Over time, it's darkened. I just recently redid Forge here. Let's move. He had been in progress for the longest time. I finally got around to, painting his boots, his belts, brown. I'm actually going to be going back and redoing Marrow. Marrow actually did cameo in the 97 series, but she has the bone crown across her head. So I'm going to be going back and copying the one she has in the show. In the show, she had a dress, but obviously we want costumes here. I have that Rachel Gray back there. That's just a Red Widow body. I didn't even bother taking the symbol off of there, because I could finish that. I could do the spikes. I could go all out and do all that, but honestly, Hasbro eventually has to give us one, so I'm just gonna wait and see. I think just yesterday, I threw this chameleon head on this Morph. Morph really needs moved down. He's a lot slimmer in 97. I'm hoping they put him back out on, the pinless version of the Sunfire mold. I've got Shadowcat back there. I'd like to have her classic look, but I never picked it up. And frankly, that's one of my oldest X-Men figures. So I have a little bit of an attachment. She was actually part of my first X-Men collection that I had a couple years ago, before I decided I was just going to sell off the entire collection. So here I am rebuilding it. One of my rules for this new collection is no villains, as I say with Spiral in the foreground. But she was on X-Force at one point, so I justified her. Because every time Hasbro goes above and beyond on a figure, and it's obvious, I feel like I need it. Sometimes a figure just comes out, and it has 6 arms, and they're done well. Or sometimes a figure comes out, and I just really like the metallic sheen on it. And that's it. Like, there's nothing else going on with the figure half the time. Repainted Elysian face. You'll notice this is not his animated look. That's because I feel like I've looked up his animated look before, and I just hate the costume, so just gonna leave him in the blue for now. Let's see. Rogue. I did repaint the black stripes on her collarbones weren't wide enough, and I did part of her face. I think I did her top lip in black and redid her eyelashes. Colossus. A lot of people saw my Colossus. I've already got somebody asking if they can buy it, and I haven't replied to them yet. because I did buy this. I made this for my collection. Unfortunately, he's still not accurate to how he appeared at 97, so it's back and forth on whether I actually want to keep it. Same with Jubilee. Jubilee, I cobbled together. She's just a placeholder. I'm sure Hasbro's giving us a new Jubilee at some point. Nightcrawler. This is the Amazing Fantasy body I upgraded him with. I took the 97 boots and gloves, cut them off, moved them over. I moved over the overlay. So he should have always been on that body. There was no reason for them to use that old Nightcrawler body again. Gambit, who has more work done on him than it looks like. It's not just a fabric coat. I went in and I drilled out the shoulder sockets, replaced his arms with arms from the Prowler mold. And I think I attached butterfly joints in there too, so. Angel's another placeholder. I picked him up because I'm using his wings for a custom. But right now, they're not painted, so I went ahead and threw him back on. And he's a placeholder in here until we get... what I'm looking for is the blue version of this costume and metal wings. We got Maggot. When the 97 figures first came out, Maggot was at Ollie's. I picked him up because he is a 90s character. I repainted his collar yellow to make him match the designs better. I've also glued that Maggot to his shoulder. I don't think that one's glued to his arm, but I did glue the one to his shoulder because I'm tired of losing them, and it's not like I'm ever going to display them any other way. Yeah, we got Wolfsbane, just basic Wolfsbane. Longshot, who needed a new face. The face they gave us was... well, it wasn't good. Got Storm, nothing really to do there. Same with these two. Siren, you'll notice, is missing her cape. And that is because Siren, I didn't actually plan on having in this collection. I just haven't moved on to the next steps of whatever she's going to be next. And so until I decide to continue that custom, she's just standing here. We got Banshee back there, which I had removed his belt because he had a really nice belt. He had a sculpted belt instead of just the flat X. Why wouldn't you use the sculpted belt every time you need that belt if you have it? You know, like why doesn't Forge have a sculpted belt? Why doesn't, you know... I mean, Morph does. Morph has a sculpted belt. I might be thinking about it wrong. He might have the flat belt too. But I removed it because I was going to paint him green, and then they announced the green one, so I'm probably just going to replace this Banshee. I have, Huskin M, which, again, just generally 90s characters. I have Ilyana. I think this is the Storm body? Yeah, that's the Storm body, because I was not going to use that Storm, and it's a nice training suit body. Now, Ilyana bothers me in 97 for a couple of reasons, but I believe when Morph turned into her in the series, it was actually a yellow and black costume. I might have to go in and swap this to black, but I also have to decide whether I want her on this adult body or if I'd prefer a younger Ilyana, because that's how I think about her. I know in the comics now they've, aged her up and, she does all kinds of adult things, and I don't like that. I don't like that. She was always supposed to be, Colossus's kid sister, kept him on the level, but now she's just vaguely evil. So, when we get a new Jubilee, I might be moving that head to the Jubilee body. I've already tested it. It does work. It just depends on if I want, that younger Ilyana or not. We've got, not the Disney princesses. I did repaint all of their eyes, though. I like Disney. That's the only reason they're there. Is I just happened to get a bunch of those 100-year packages, and I was reselling a bunch of the individual figures. And there was certain ones that I kept to give to like nephews and nieces, but the I know this is a departure from what we were doing, but I might still give those away. We got Chamber. Chamber, you can't really see him. Oh, cool. Yeah. The art of collecting. You knock over figures every time you want to do anything. And there goes Nightcrawler. Come on, Kurt. Yeah, so Chamber's been back and forth for a while. The real problem, Hasbro made his head way too big. Like, they thought the fire would hide it. His head is too big. So I've been going through bodies like crazy trying to get it to work. I think this works. This is basically the Last Stand Spider-Man. I actually stole his legs at one point. Like the last time I had him finished, he had the Last Stand torso. He also had the black plastic Last Stand legs. Unfortunately, I stole those for a custom. Oh, you know what? I remember what I stole them for. I stole them when I did the Ghoul. But that was a commission, and I was paid decently for it. So I was like, I'll just buy another Last Stand Spider-Man, replace the legs, and I never did. So I recently got another Talon, swapped the legs back on there, repainted them black. And I had this coat. I bought it for a different purpose. It ended up not working for said purpose. Yeah, focus on Chamber. Come on. But I like the red inside there. It calls back to the scarf he's supposed to have. I'd like to get a second head for him and rip it off the flame, like cut it off, and do the scarf head as well. You know, maybe lighten up his eyebrows a bit. He's just so angry here. Just so angry. And this is such a calm character. And he's so angry. But yeah, Chamber's one of my favorite X-Men. So I'd like to do him better. I also have this Toy Biz Brood. That's fun. Toy Biz Brood. He fits, I feel like he fits in scale here. Like, I know they can be bigger, but he's not a queen. This is just a drone. I recently got a box of old Toy Biz figures, and I took them to my physical location to sell. And I don't know. I saw that he was about the right scale. I don't see Hasbro giving us a Brood for a while. So, it's fun. You know? I love the X-Men. I've always loved the X-Men. All right. This figure was an entire accident. I got this figure so I could get the bone claws from my brown suit Wolverine, and I was like, well, now I've just got a random Wolverine. But I also got the Brood Wolverine to get the grasping hands from him because it's the same claw ports. Also for my brown suit Wolverine, I want the grasping hands with the bone claws. So I had an extra set of the metal claws, and I had this darker blue suit. This darker blue, which is more accurate to 97. You know, it's more accurate than the, if we go up here, more accurate than the actual 97 body, which I'm using for my first appearance Wolverine right now. But, yeah. I mean, this body has the pins. It has those old wrinkly arms, but I mean, he works if he's just standing here. You know, and I have an extra body if I ever need to rip it apart for another Wolverine. Because I kept on my 97, like, all those parts can be swapped out. He can be a 97 again whenever I want. You know, the shoulder pads swap out. The head swaps out, obviously. So, yeah, that's a whole thing. I know this is already a 15-minute long video for my first ever thing, but I figure I can talk about some of my upcoming X-Men projects. I've already dug out all of my, current customs. To talk about, things I'm doing, problems I'm having with them. And there's Leech. And yeah, Jeff the Land Shark. That's fun. Everybody's into him right now. I mean, they're into a cuter version of him, but, Yeah, so we've got Beast here. Beast is not going to be able to stay here in this collection. This is not an animated Beast. This is I have random parts, and I don't know what to do with them. So, yeah, Beast. Probably going to do some sort of tech stealth Beast just because of the goggles. This was a 3D printed Dark Beast head. And at the time, I really liked the sculpt, so I got it for a standard Beast. And then I was like, I don't even have a Beast. Beast is a super expensive figure. I'm waiting for hopefully a 97 Beast. I would love an animated fur sculpt for a 97 Beast. I think eventually we'll get one, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I just know that I can't get the Retro Beast. That's a whole separate issue. Yeah, but I have some Beast hands laying around. I just have to dig them out of a bin. The hinges, you'll see that is hollow. Because the hinges don't really work in there. I'll have to sculpt in there. But the arms are on there pretty sturdy. So, yeah, he'll just have some wristbands. I'll add belt and random, Star Wars tech to him. It'll be cool. Yeah, I got my 90s animated series Havoc going on, Angel Head, Forge body I swapped out for the first appearance, legs for Star-Lord, just so, I don't have that Forge thigh going on. Which, slightly unfortunate, is I mentioned I put Chameleon's head on Morph, so I have the Chameleon body. It has boots. It's got sleeved, wrinkled arms. It has this wider torso. Very animated look. I don't know anything I can do with this figure, but it would have been cool for Havoc. Instead, I'm over here, sculpting at the arms. I've already done the base layer of black. Oh, he's got a little bit of something brown in there. That's not it's not part of him. That's just because I carry this stuff around in a bag all day. I'll have to add more wrinkles to his arms. But, other than that, I'm pretty happy with where he's at. I just, if I had picked up Chameleon a while ago, would have used him. I'm working on Leech. Leech is another one. I had this child body laying around from when I did my Western Kids. And I was like, oh, I can use this for Leech. And then I looked up his 97 design, his 92 design. And, well, it's too complex for Leech. Like, it works as a standard Leech. If I'm selling this as, like, a comic book Leech, like, this still works. Leech just wears normal clothes. It'll be fine. It's just if I want an animated looking Leech, I'll have to try for a different body and just do him again later. But I do like him. He's the quintessential Morlock. He's the first character in the X-Men that's always like, the X-Men don't care about the Morlocks. We're on our own. We got to do our own thing. Which comes specifically from him because this is a character that is ostracized from his own people. Like, no mutant wants to be around him. Then we got Namor, which, people have been following, the progress on my Namor. You can see the skin tone is very slightly different on his lower legs, on his head. If I go to paint that, it's probably still not going to be the right color. So I've been going back and forth on whether I'm going to do that. If I sculpt his lower legs, it's also going to be the same issue, is that the sheen of the paint is not going to match the sheen of the plastic. That's always the problem painting skin tone on skin tone, is that it's obvious that it's been done. And I don't want to have to repaint this whole body. I specifically picked it because of the skin tone. I wish Ka-Zar just didn't have boots. Sometimes he doesn't have boots. If they hadn't put boots on him and just gave him his bare legs, this would have been a lot easier. And like I said in the post, this is the Savage Namor head. I thought they had reused one of the old Namor heads and just did a new hair sculpt. But no, this is an entirely new Namor head. There's more wrinkling going on the forehead. Once you paint thinner off the the excess stubble and stuff they've got on him, there we go. It's a whole thing. But there's a lot more definition happening on this Namor head, which leads me to think that this custom might be in vain. They might be getting ready to release a new classic Invaders Namor. If that happens, I will just convert this into a first appearance Namor and put it on my first appearance shelf. Because I've been debating doing that anyway, but I would have to get rid of his scaly underwear, and I did a lot of work to put that there. So... the scaly underwear. Cable. There's some disappointing news. Cable's probably getting put away. He's getting put away because, again, I have a 90s animated collection, which means that this isn't accurate to his 97 design. He doesn't have pants in the 97 design. Let me rephrase that. He's got like skin tight going on in the 97 design, in the old animated series design. If I was making just a comic book Cable, this would work. And I'll probably not tear this apart. I'll probably try to make a comic book Cable down the line. But this would be another custom that would just go on eBay. This is not what I was trying to build. I actually have a new body picked out. I realized that Hyperion would be a much better body. His head sculpt might even work better. And Hyperion is I already looked him up. I can get him for like $26 maybe. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna get Hyperion. I'll figure out that whole lower torso deal he's got going on, but I think that would just be better. Hyperion already reuses these arms. He's already this size of character. I'm not going to lose anything. Showing off standard size next to, Cable. But I'm not going to lose anything going forward. And then Polaris. Because sure, I could have went back and got, the 2-pack of Havoc and Polaris. But I don't make a lot of money, so... I'm just going to make her. I think this will turn out well. I like the face sculpt, but it never really struck me as Rogue very much. I know that they were doing Campbell, J. Scott Campbell, but they didn't really catch it right. I think this will just work better as Polaris. The only thing I'm disappointed about is I would love to get Polaris's original hair sculpt from that first figure. That hair was really good. That really curly, big mess of hair. I would love that hair. In fact, I think at one point I might have used that to update a Rogue, and people loved that. I don't know why they don't reuse some version of that hair sculpt. Yeah, but going back to Jeff here, I had used this for something, and I had painted him black, and I put a bunch of little red tendrils on him and stuff, and he was just... I used him as an accessory for one of my characters, because I didn't really care about, Jeff the Land Shark. It's such a stupid character. And I know people are going to hate that because everybody loves him now. He's Marvel's Grogu character, They're going to probably milk the crap out of the merchandising. But because he's such a big character now, I was like, hey, I still have him laying around. So I've been, removing all the paint I put on him. I'll be repainting him. I sculpted, you can see I sculpted there. That was to get rid of that crack that went down the whole length of the figure. It was really obvious by the mouth. But technically, this works as a first appearance Jeff the Land Shark, and I have a first appearance collection. So I'm going to redo that and put him in my first appearance collection. That'll be fun. I also have, he's not positioned so that I can stand him up. I mentioned that I got this Brood Wolverine. So I'm giving him the big Brood arms, because like I said, I stole his hands that have claws. So I know I have another one of these axe things. I'm going to find another one, do the same thing with the other hand. Yeah, that'll be fun. I did already look at this, by the way, because the shoulders are much bigger than on the Secret Wars Wolverine. I was like, can I swap those to get the bigger shoulders? Because it's the only thing that bothers me about the Secret Wars Wolverine is how small the shoulder balls are. I don't want to go in and paint the skin tone. I don't want to go in and paint that weird rust orange color, because I have to mix it every time I do that, and 50-50 it turns out the right color. So I don't want to go through all that effort to have it, mess up every time I play with the figure. And that's the whole point of that rust-colored Wolverine, is that is my play Wolverine. He's not going in this collection. He's not going in that collection. He's specifically for me to play with. Carry around, play with it, all that. So just laying on the ground now. Yeah, but I think I'm going to do a couple more of these videos. I was originally going to start with something much smaller. Depending on how I post them, I might still start with something much smaller. Because I have a multiverse collection, but it's only got like 8 characters in it. So it'd be a lot less to talk about than, all of this was. This is bigger than any of my other collections. I thought about starting with my first appearance collection, but I'm probably going to do a lot more talking during that one. And there's not as many figures. So, yeah. See you in the next one.